hello earlier on, I shall say it now. It's a pleasure to be here. I haven't got slides, so that means you'll have to pay attention and maybe write a few things down. What I'm supposed to be speaking about this afternoon is how are they managing in tomorrow's world? So I've sort of looked at that question and I thought I'd just share some of the things that I have experienced in terms of the variety of things that I do. I think as you've probably got some sort of write-up there about me. I hate writing these things. I usually get somebody else to do it if I'm lucky. But I guess in terms of my role as a business consultant, management trainer, and I do a lot of voluntary work, women in management, national chair. So what I'm going to do is to share with you some of the things that I've found and my perception on the world. I'm pretty good with my perception on the world. And I hope that you're able to take something away from it. I should warn you, I am a dreamer. But I think we dreamers are hugely important because we help the rest of the world and ourselves to sort of move forward. So I've brought myself some notes, so I hope you enjoy it. So pretty much, how are they managing in tomorrow's world? Well, from what I've gathered, I've realised that successful businesses are managing by being aware of the past, looking ahead, listening to what their customers and their employees have to say, setting high standards, and also setting high expectations. So we go back to that goals, having goals again. In the main, when I talk to people of all ages, they pretty much want the same style and type of management or leadership. When I talk to young people, and when I talk to more experienced young people, like ourselves, what I found that people want, they want managers, they want leaders who are believable, trustworthy, honest, who appreciate that their lives are an example to others and live their lives in a way in order to inspire others. And we were having a quick chat earlier on, a couple of us over lunchtime, and we were saying that no matter where you are, you have the power to positively or negatively affect people. You don't have to think that you are this bright, brilliant person, but just be aware of the power of who you are, just where you are, and use what you have. So everybody's looking for something or someone to believe in. It's whether or not you're prepared to take that challenge on yourself. So I believe that in order to manage well tomorrow, we need to be managing well today. Okay. Are you struggling with that a bit?
No,
okay. Let's get it.
I pressed the wrong button.
Oh, okay. So there are four main areas that I've come across that I found that people say those are the areas within their businesses or organisations that they'd like to see some change. But what I've also noticed is that for organisations who are exceptionally successful, they seem to be focusing on those same areas as well. So what I think they are, and some of them they've already been mentioned, one, behaviour, two, learning, three, vision, and the fourth one, humanity. So I'm just going to quickly go through those four points. I think we'll all agree that time has changed and will continue to change. Okay, the increase in access to information on everybody, whoever they are, information about their lives and their actions, mean that old adage, do as I say but not as I do, that's long been thrown out of the window. And no matter who you are, you might think you're just a manager in some organisation. But I'm sure people can find out about you, what you've been up to. So do be careful. So in every arena of life, the spotlight has been turned not only to focus on an individual's ability, but also to focus on their overall behaviour. Okay, we just need to turn the radio on or the TV or or go on the internet, and we'll hear things about footballers, their lives, what they're doing on and off the field. Okay, we'll hear things about, MPs' expenses. We'll hear things about super injunctions, and we'll hear things about phone hacking, etc., etc. The list can go on. But what, in your opinion, is all the hoo-ha about? What would you say it's all about in all of those cases? Not being role models.
Transparency.
Transparency, not absolutely, not being role models, transparency. But this is all around behaviour. That's what it is, behaviour. So, in the business world, I think the last issue on super injunctions was looking at a senior banker in the world of business wanting to hide his behaviour. Why? Why do people in such high-profile positions want to hide information about their behaviour? Because they know that their credibility at work, in the world at large, is inseparable from their behaviour. Okay? So we are, as leaders, in whatever positions we find ourselves, we are in the spotlight. Whether we're at home, whether we're walking down the street, whether we're at work. People are looking at our behaviour, and we have to take responsibility for our own behaviour. Whatever we decide to do, we can't pass it on to somebody else. We have to realise that we've made that decision. So the way around it is to take responsibility. And taking responsibility today, the decisions we make today will affect what happens tomorrow. And that's what we need to realise in the workplace as well, as managers. It may take a little bit more time, but we need to make that decision. Were you just about to say something?
I was just going to say, there's a saying that says you can't talk your way out of a situation you behaved yourself into.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can go home now. Absolutely. That's right. So I have a little checklist that I use for myself. If I'm not absolutely sure about doing something, and I'll share that with you. 3 simple questions. You've probably heard about them before. The first one is, if I'm going to do something, I'll ask myself, is this activity or action good for me? Is it safe for me? So when I say me, I'm looking at my personal safety, and that is physical, mental, psychological safety. Okay, so I'll answer that question. The second question, is this activity or action good or safe for others? So for others, you could start with your family. I've got my husband, my children, my extended family, my parents and cousins and aunts and, the multitudes. Then you've got your customers, you've got your partners, other people, stakeholders, your employees, and the community at large. How is this decision going to affect everybody around you? And finally, yes, I'm sure you've thought about it, is this decision good or safe for the environment? Anybody pay council tax? Yeah, you're making that decision. How many we have? Probably we have 5 or 6 different boxes at home that we have to separate our rubbish into. So we're already making that decision. But in the workplace, we should be thinking about that. Now, some people might think, oh, Sandra, that's a bit extreme. Okay, and you're entitled to your opinion. But I don't think it's extreme. I think that I am managing today for tomorrow. Do you see what I mean? So instead of thinking about quick answers, think ahead. What's the knock-on effect? When I talk to young people in the community, and I go out into the workplace, people are saying similar things. In the workplace, people don't feel that people higher up in the pecking order are actually making those decisions or thinking about this, but your customers are thinking about those things. A lot of contracts these days, they have those sorts of things tied into them, but we shouldn't have to be thinking about that only as a part of a contract. We should be able to think about it just ordinarily. If I can share from my own experience, when I first started my business, very early days, I put in a tender, and I was unsuccessful. And I went back and I said, you know, could you give me some feedback as to why I wasn't successful? And they said, well, basically, you know, your application was brilliant. It was really good. The ideas were excellent. But because you were new in business, you didn't have a very high turnover. So I scored, because they score you on different things, so I scored rather low on that one. And someone from the panel, off the record, said to me, well, you know, you should have fibbed. Other people do it, you should have fibbed. And I thought, I can't do that. If doing that would not have answered yes for my 3 points. And also, me, I'd be scared that someone found out about it later and my credibility would be shot. So they are making a decision today that will affect how I manage tomorrow. Okay, so simple, not rocket science, just basic things that we can make a decision. So that's the first one, behaviour. You know, hold yourself accountable, be accountable. Again, in the workplace, people feel that, you know, their managers, senior managers, CEOs, that they feel the higher they go, the less they have to hold themselves accountable or ask themselves those questions. Okay. So I'll go on to the second point now, which you may recall was learning. So I know you're here, so you're clearly people that are interested in learning. So you're going to say, I know this. Well, good, so you should. Because it's a huge responsibility, as far as I'm concerned, in relation to good management. Okay. And sometimes we forget how powerful learning can be, not only for ourselves, but for other people. Employees tell me time again that senior managers don't feel that they, the senior managers themselves, need to learn. Now this may just be a perception, okay? Some people feel that the higher they go in an organisation, because they've arrived where they are, they don't need to learn anymore. Okay? I would personally disagree. Okay? Senior managers would readily say, oh yes, we need to invest in our staff, because when we invest in our staff, improve their skills, that impacts on the business. But you should also invest in yourself. And I believe that as senior managers, the higher you go, I think the more you should be learning, because you are setting an example. Let me share with you what I think that if you don't personally engage in learning, you will be doing. First of all, by failing to engage in learning yourself, you'll be actually showing your staff, those ones that are coming up, okay, the corporate ladder, you're showing them by example how they should be behaving. Okay, so in other words, they shouldn't really take learning very seriously. Okay. But I think that failing to engage in learning, you're failing to keep yourself sharp, you're failing to keep ahead of the game, and you're failing to learn about new models of thinking, new concepts, and also failing to have access to new strategies that could take you and your business forward. And if you fail to engage in learning, I think you're likely to be left behind. Look at all those organisations who thought, you know, this would never happen, that's never going to take off. And they didn't invest, or they didn't train themselves up, or their people, and they got left behind. Younger businesses, more eager, interested people are creating businesses and moving ahead. So we have to keep pushing ourselves, as uncomfortable as it may feel sometimes. One of my favourite British companies is Virgin. Whatever you think about them, one of these days, I would love to meet Richard Branson. Okay, anybody know him? Put in a good word for me. But I just love the way that he deals with learning. He's always looking to try something new. Okay, he listens. If you've read his autobiographies, you will find out that a lot of the ideas that have not come from him, they've come from his staff.